You can see it on her face. Yeah, go ahead, get up. You too, Mike. Shaking hands with an insurrectionist. Can you believe that?
But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big, big dollars.
Kamala fuming at Jimmy Carter's funeral ceremony. You can see some familiar faces here in this screen grab. We've got the biggest loser of the 2024 election, Kamala Harris, right there with backhand Doug sitting to her left. But right behind them in the second row, you see Melania. To her right, we've got President-elect Trump, number 47, coming in hot. We've got Obama, who's there, but Obama's missing somebody. Where is Michelle? Very rude of her not to show up. And to Obama's right, we've got the Bush family, George and Laura Bush, seated there. Now, behind them, we've got Mike Pence, who is in row number 3, and Trump and Pence had a handshake this morning. I do have a clip of that coming up. But watch what's happening here. Trump and Obama were having a lot of conversations this morning, and Kamala didn't like it, not one bit. Let me read something right now to show people I'm not mad. You can see it on her face. We all know that book trick, okay? She couldn't grab her phone. If she was not in this place, she would have grabbed her phone. All right, so that is what happened. Kamala is not happy. She's like, Trump and Obama are talking. Obama doesn't laugh at my jokes like that. Here is more. Trump talking with Obama, and they were talking for a long time. Here is what CNN was sharing.
Happening. These are just moments that you don't see hardly ever. And just to go back to that moment where Trump walked into the room and shook hands with Mike Pence, that is the first interaction that those two have had. They have not even been in the same room in 4 years. I called, just double checked that this morning with a few aides of both of theirs. And it just was a moment to see them come and shake hands with one another. And Jeff, obviously to see this moment, Jeff, you covered President Obama, to see the two of them speaking to one another, seated next to one another, which I don't think they have been at one of these funerals or gatherings where they've been in the same room before.
They have not. It truly is extraordinary. The last time most of them were in the same room was in
They're
2018 at the funeral of George H.W. Bush.
Obama's laughing at his jokes.
Then. One person missing. I mean, this is Michelle Obama.
Here was the handshake with Al Gore and Mike Pence. Trump and Melania waltzing in there like they own the place. Yeah, go ahead, get up. You too, Mike. There we go. Good to see you again. Shaking hands with an insurrectionist. Can you believe that? All these people are shaking hands with the man who's going to destroy American democracy. Here was more. So today that ceremony is happening and Jimmy Carter can rest in peace. But Trump is not just there for that ceremony. He was also there yesterday in the Senate and meeting with a bunch of senators, and he had a lot to say after their meeting together. But here's what it looked like when Trump made his way into the Capitol yesterday. A big thunderous round of applause for the president-elect coming in. All right, so they walked into the chamber. There's Trump. I believe that was JD behind him, and John Thune as well. So they were there. Got a couple of clips from that. So this is Trump, a short clip. He came out and spoke after their meetings together.
How does it feel to be back at the U.S. Capitol, Mr. President?
It feels great.
You're probably on the same page.
Couldn't feel better. We're looking at the one bill versus two bills, and whatever it is, doesn't matter. We're going to get the result, and we're going to make America great again, and we'll see you in a little while.
All right, so that was him walking into the meeting, and then after the meeting, he actually did have some things to say, and so he came back out with the rest of the senators, and here's what that sounded like.
So thank you very much. We had a great meeting. There's great unity. Whether it's one bill or two bill, it's going to get done one way or the other. I think there's a lot of talk about two, and there's a lot of talk about one, but it doesn't matter. The end result is the same. We're going to get something done that's going to be reducing taxes and creating a lot of jobs and all of the other things that you know about. But this was a really unified meeting, and I want to thank John and everybody for, it was a great turnout. You know, this was came here for the funeral tomorrow. We went over to Blair House. I went over with First Lady, met the Carter family. They were lovely. They were really very sad, but also they were celebrating because he was a very fine man. I knew him a little bit, but I knew him only as a fine man. Then we came here, we had a meeting, but it was a really good meeting, very strong, and we'll get something done. One bill, two bills, doesn't matter to me. They're going to work that out, but the end result is going to be the same. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you. Have a big couple of days coming up, and then in a week and a half, we have, I think, some really tremendous things happening. We have some really, I think it's going to set this country apart from all others. Do some great work. Any quick questions?
Yep.
Day one, we've done some significant pushback from people in Greenland and Panama with comments. Would you consider sending U.S. troops in order to violate
Yeah, I don't think we had pushback. Greenland is, if you look at the people there, we got tremendous, we got applause as we landed yesterday. I had my representatives, my son Don, and representatives go there. And it was like a love fest, you know that. The Panama Canal, if they're taking advantage of it, they charge more for our ships than to do any other ships. They charge more for our Navy to go through. We built it. We gave it to them for $1. In other words, we gave it to them for nothing. The most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively speaking, by far. We lost 38,000 people. They gave it to them for $1, and then they charge more for our ships. It's not going to happen. And China's running the Panama Canal. That's not going to happen either.
During the pandemic, you often said that you didn't believe that you should bail out blue states that you believe were being mismanaged. Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water if they send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses.
It's
That is
terrible.
a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. And yet they have, the water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels, they give millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop. It's nothing. But for California, it would take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him. When he was governor, we worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big, big dollars.
He's right, man.
Biden finally changed. What's your message for President Biden? He said he
Oh,
might.
I thought it was ridiculous that he did that, but we have more important things to talk about. Liz Cheney she lost in the Republican Party, as you know, in her state by the biggest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress.
What a loser.
She lost by like 42 points.
Yeah,
Nobody's
terrible.
ever lost like that. So I don't care about Liz Cheney. I care about these people.
What does day one even look like for the Trump administration?
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly. It's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And it's one of the reasons I won the election in a landslide. The people of this country don't want murderers walking down their farms or their streets or their cities. As you know, we had thousands of people that murdered other people that were in jail that were released into our country. Many of those people murdered more than one person, about 42% supposedly. We want them out of our country, and we're going to get a country back again, and we're going to be really governed by common sense. These are the principles of common sense. We're not going to be governed by stupid people. We're going to common sense. We're going to be respected all over the world again very soon.
Trump is really at the top of his game. This little short press exchange, in addition to the other press exchange that we saw where he spoke for about an hour and 10 minutes earlier in the week, he is answering questions on a broad range of topics on command, and his recall is bringing up things like smelt fish and stuff like that, right? Stuff that you could prepare for a week. You could give these people level. Every other person up there, Cotton, Vance maybe would be the exception. He's pretty smooth. Cotton's pretty good. Thune, you know. But could they get up there and answer those questions that smoothly, or do what Trump did just a week ago with that press briefing? You can give them a month to prepare and they could come out and they wouldn't have as much mastery of the medium as the president does. He is at a whole different level than he was even in 2016. You can see it. His command is on display and he's doing an interesting job there.